From
Leonardo,
Argentiera.
ciao, how are you?
Ciao, David. Very fine. Thank you very much.
Great,
So,
excellent to see you again.
oh, it's a beautiful occasion to see you. So, again,
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
to.
So we'll give people a few minutes. We're actually just a minute before 10, but we can just chit chat a bit. And how was the day at the winery? What's going on there?
Oh, I could take my camera,
Yeah.
okay, just to avoid. I just to present you to introduce you Massimo Basile.
Ah,
That is our commercial director and marketing manager. So and Nicolò Basile, Nicolò Carrara. Here it is.
Ciao.
ciao, Nicolò. It's great to see you. I look forward to speaking with you in a few minutes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we will be
good.
part of our speaking, and of course the third I will try to give you, I don't know, too much movement, but sorry, but not a more very. But today is a very cloudy day and with a lot of wind. Yeah, probably we were more excited to show you some a little more sunny day, but as you know, you are of course in the late spring, so with the variability about what we are managing in the vineyards and the cellar. So, but now in this moment you are at the end of you have just finished the canopy management. So we have the canopies, the shoots, everything on the wires. So
Right.
we are very confident in a beautiful season. Today it's very important to have this kind of situation because the wind is so high, so strong today that if you didn't take the wires in the right
The
position,
trellising, right?
probably exactly probably you could have some damage on our shoots and of course on our production. But we are confident that everything is going was done very in a good condition. So perfect situation in this today. So and to have a good impact, a good conversation with you and all the people in line with us could be very excited for us. So in Argentiera, in this moment, we are you have just bottled the last week Argentiera 2018.
Oh,
So,
exciting.
yeah, you have just put in the bottle this beautiful vintage. A vintage that, of course, I didn't. I don't want to take words from Nicolò, but of course we are very come dire, confidenti and very happy to have tasted just before the bottling the quality of Argentiera and the quality of the DOC Bolgheri.
For 2018, we can talk about that a bit. But 2018 is looking good.
Yeah, it's another beautiful vintage. Of course, we are lucky because Bolgheri and Argentiera is in a beautiful area. So where the condition, the climate, the light are quite is the why, because this area becomes in very few years so important in the wine business, because each year we can represent the what we have in front of us, the Mediterranean Sea, the hills, and the rest that represent the uniqueness of this area. And Argentiera is a uniqueness for DOC Bolgheri. So this is the why the appellation and why the neighborhood, so as Sassicaia, Ornellaia, Gaia. So we are 60 estates plus or minus in the consortium, that everyone has is a little piece of the puzzle that represents the beauty of this area.
And that's a good point. So let's start there. So I'm just gonna introduce the audience here, and people will still be joining us as we go. But in a moment, I'm going to show a map and show your location, so everybody gets kind of an idea of where you're at in Italy. But even before we do that, I just wanted to mention just how small of a region Bolgheri is, how small of an appellation. So we're In the far west of Tuscany, right on the coast, it's 3,400 acres, 3,400 acres. Compare that to Napa. Napa Valley is 45,000 acres. So Bolgheri is 10%, less than 10% of Napa. And Bordeaux, as an example, is 300,000 acres. So Bolgheri is such a small appellation. So I wanted to show everybody where we're at today. So we're in Italy, we're in Tuscany. So Tuscany is north of Rome, sort of the top west of Italy there. You'll see a dark purple. So that's where we're at. We're in Tuscany. And then if you zoom into Tuscany, you can see this is our zoom in. Chianti is the orange in the top center. Below that in the orange is Montalcino. And then directly to the west, right along the coast, that green area is where Bolgheri is located. And I'm going to show you a zoom in of Bolgheri just so you can get an exact idea of where the winery is situated right next to the coast. So it's a bit small, but we're at the south end of Bolgheri. You could see the mountains there, and Argentiera has three to four properties right there along the coast. You could see the three black dots there. So that's where we're situated at today. That's what we're going to be speaking about, the beautiful wines of Bolgheri. And with that, I want to turn it over to Leonardo Raspini, who is the managing director of Tenuta Argentiera. And we're actually getting 3 for 1 today. So we're getting Leonardo, which is fantastic. And we're also going to be speaking with Nicolò, the winemaker. And then at the end, if we have time for a few moments, we'll speak with Massimo as well, who's the
Massimo, yes,
the sales director. So we're getting 3 for 1 today. So it's very exciting. So starting with you, why don't you just give us a bit of brief history on the winery, sort of a bit about the terroir, what makes it so special?
Yeah. Argentiera was a relatively young estate for Bolgheri. The beginning of Argentiera started with in 1999 with the first vineyard planted in that period, and was owned by a Florentine family, a Frattini family, that owned the estate through 10 years and something more. When was acquired by Stanislaus Thurnauer, that was an Austrian people that was really in love not only with the wine business, with the wine, but really in love with the area, with this portion of Tuscany. Because you say Bolgheri is very little, small appellation. Respect to the others. And one situation is that all the limit of the appellation is inside the one only municipality, that is Castagneto Carducci. Castagneto Carducci is the municipality where Bolgheri appellation was situated. And Argentiera is in the south border of the appellation, closer to Castagneto Carducci than closer to Bolgheri. But for that represent another opportunity for this area to be very special, so unique, to have a sort of a uniqueness of our estate. So Argentiera, when started with Federico Zileri dal Verme, that was in charge of director of the operations. Now is our CEO, but is still in our estate and works with all the staff with Stanislaus Thurnauer to give to the estate another step of the development. As you know, in terms of age, 20 years old for an estate is a very short time. So for us, we are very proud to be here in the appellation, to be just one of the principal actors of the DOC Bolgheri in so short time. This is why this happens. Of course, Argentiera has an opportunity to be in a place that link the altitude of the vineyards and to be close to the ocean. So these two combination, the combination of these two things gave us this beautiful complexity of our varieties and of our vineyards. The area is situated at 200 meters over the sea level, only 4 kilometers from the ocean. So
for people who don't know meters, sorry, I'll just translate real quick. So that's 660 feet above sea level. It's the highest portion, the highest region, the highest area within the appellation. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Thank you, David, because this is very important. But so we are very close and high. Two things that give us a big opportunity, because our vineyards were close to the cellar, are very rich in clays, in stones, they represent the big quality of our estate, the surround. The cellar is situated very in a beautiful area, in a beautiful position. We can see from here, we can see all the islands around of the archipelago of the Elba Island, for example, the Corsica. In the brighter days, you can see the Corsica in the other part of the ocean with the snow on the mountain. So we are very open to the air, to the breeze, to the flow, to the light. So the light linked to the breeze gave us the possibility to have 2 meters, 2-3 degrees less Celsius, 2 degrees less Celsius than the other parts of the state and of Bolgheri appellation. So in this stay our uniqueness of Argentiera. And
I was going to say, I've been to Bolgheri a few times before, and it definitely gets warm there. So it is important to have that elevation to cool things off and that breeze, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is one of the opportunity that we have. When the Argentiera started 20 years ago, started with a big project with a cellar that represents some part of the story that there is in this area. Argentiera, what means Argentiera? Argentiera means silver mines. So you are at the place where in the Etruscan period, just in the Etruscan period, so 2,000 years ago, the Etruscans extracted the minerals. From these minerals, they extracted part of the more precious for that time mineral that was the silver. So it's a place that is not the marketing name. Argentiera was represented in the maps of Grand Duke Lorena, so this means in the beginning of 18th century, just in that maps. So was a place that was just famous a lot of years ago, because it was in the line of the coastal area where the business of minerals, of agricultural, of others can have the right harbor to be commercialized everywhere in Europe, not in the world in the moment, but in Europe surely. Now we are commercialized everywhere in the world, and this is the why, and we are very proud to be here and represent Argentiera.
Well, I have to say, it's been very exciting and us to work with you, because in such a short period of time, the winery has been so successful, and it's received awards and recognition from raters as well as connoisseurs. So it's just exciting to see what's been happening, but what's coming in the future. So it's just great to speak with you today and see a bit more and what makes this place so special. So sorry, go ahead and continue.
Well, so the variety, our vineyards. So sorry what I asked. I don't know if you asked me about this. If you asked for the Argentiera. Now we have 80 hectares about in vineyards, so located in 3 different areas. The first one is the where Argentiera began to plant vineyards. So in the neighborhood of our cellar. So it's the higher part, and is the part from where we obtain the last and the most important wines. So this is an area of about 40 hectares. Very close to here, just a few kilometers, just a little in the not so high, so this means 100 something more meters. So we have Villa Donoratico area, where we produce the basis of the wine. This is the heart for the wines of Villa Donoratico. And the third part is more closer to the historical way, that is Aurelia. Aurelia is the way that from Rome bring to France. So it's an historical one that is very close to us. It's passed through between us and the coast. And the vineyards closer to Aurelia are the sandy, where the sandy is more abundant. There we produce particularly the wines for obtain Foggia Ginepri and white and rosé, and in particular red. So, but this we'll talk Nicolò after with more deep. But these 80 hectares represent, and these three areas represents for us the three different level of wines, but each of one has the capacity and the potential to produce high quality wines, because depending on the season, depending on the vintage, we can obtain the maximum from an area from the others. So the only difference that is very important difference is the soil. The soil that is different from the three areas. So for us, it's important to represent these three different potential, these different terroir, of course.
And I want to mention that real quick, just to let people know that, of course, you're the managing director, but you're also an agronomist, which I find fascinating.
Yes, this is my passion, of course.
So you're a dirt scientist. So tell people who aren't familiar with that, just real quickly, what an agronomist is.
Yeah. Here we are in the higher part of Argentiera, where we are just analyzing every year, but we have just analyzed through these days the final geopedological representation of our estate. So to give to have the opportunity to understand the best the results of different single parcel. This is the base of the very important wine. The complexity arrives not only from the soil, not only from the exposition, but from the mind of the people that manage. So Nicolò, myself, Federico Zileri, now and the past. So every one of us represents the base to understand the potential for each season of the different conditions in the same place. So these four different opportunity gave us the final results. So in this case, so you can see in this photo the brightness of the days that is quite usual for us, absolutely usual. So in the year we have more bright days than probably more than 300 days per year with this kind of light. And you can see the sea in the horizon that function is like a mirror that duplicate the light in the late afternoon. So the cellar center of our vineyards gave us we can see and we can feel every year, every day, because our offices, we are lucky, of course, are just on the sea, so we can see this spectacular view every day.
That's amazing. You guys are very lucky. No, it's great to see and to hear from you. Just what makes everything so special, and how specific it is too. I know you do lot selections, so you'll harvest maybe 45 different parcels and lots and vinify them separately. So there's just so much attention to detail that goes on there. It's impressive.
Yeah. We do it because we have to do it to represent the best our soils. This is only one exception about this, but we'll talk in the final of our interview, for our moment. At the end, I will talk about a new project that represents for us another step of our estate.
Oh, exciting! Okay.
Okay.
Great. Perfect.
So I think this could be the time for Nicolò.
Perfect.
To explain the wines and to talk about what we represent. And of course, if I had forgotten something, we would give information about. But I give you the opportunity. Ecco, this is Nicolò.
Ciao, David.
Hey, John, Nicolò, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Excellent. I'm just typing your name up here, but while we do that, why don't you just tell us a bit about yourself and your history? I know you're from the region, so you were born in Tuscany, and your history too. Where else you worked before is interesting to me too, actually.
I born here, not far from Bolgheri, 10 minutes by car, and I study enologies, and I have some experience in France, in Australia, in Sicily, in Hungary. And then in 2009, I had the interview with Mr. Zileri. And I was really lucky because I would love to have a project like Argentiera. And I started in 2009, so now it's more than 10 years. I feel a little bit old because the time passed very fast, but you know, it's normal. And every harvest more white hair, but it's normal.
No, that's exciting. You're doing excellent work there. So keep up the good work. Maybe we could speak just a moment about harvest and how it works. I do have a few pictures of the sorting too, so we could talk about the sorting and then the cellar, and then we could talk about the four main wines. I think we've got a good lineup here.
Absolutely. As Leonardo and you mentioned it, we have a very precise method in the vineyards to manage the vineyards, and we do everything by hands. So all the management, the spring and summer management are done by our employee, and also the harvest, the team enlarge a little bit during the harvest time, but we do everything by hand, picking by hand. And the complex part is to do following the 45 plot. So it means that some vineyards are cut in 2, 3, 4 parts, and could pass maybe also 1 week between the higher part and the lower part on the picking time. So we do that because we want to have more homogeneous ripeness in the tank. So that means that we select the best, maybe quality, but also the best homogeneous ripeness, because it's something that we carry a lot, to have the ripeness at the perfect moment without any compromise berries or part of vineyards. And so this is a very precise way to harvest. And then we want to preserve the quality of the soil, because Argentiera has many different type of soil, as Leonardo said before, with the clay, limestone, rocky, sandy mixture of that. And so we want to preserve that. And to preserve that, we have to select separately and work the berries in different tanks. And our philosophy also is to preserve the soul and the personality of these grapes. And to do that, we are not very, we don't work a lot on it. So we don't want to manage too much the berries. And for that, we don't crush the berries, for example. That's why we have 2 sorting tables, one for the grapes that we select, maybe the grapes that are not very ripe or maybe are overripe or with some leaf.
Right.
And then after the destemming, we have another sorting table for the berries that means to make it at the perfect as we can. So no green berries pass through the table, no green part go in the tank. and the berries go in gentle way as possible in the tank through the gravity, and we don't crush. So it means that the berries crush themselves by the weight of the tank, of the quantity of the berries.
Interesting.
And
okay.
because we want to preserve the skin, that is the most important part for the extraction during the fermentation. And do that, we can manage also the extraction in a maceration time, depending on the quality, on the vintage, and of our goal to extraction of the tank. So we do pumping over daily, we do some punching down, we do some delestage during the 24, 30 days of maceration.
Right.
And at the end of this, we press the skin, we separate the first juice, and we have the malolactic fermentation in the tank another time. And then the best plot goes for Argentiera, for example, goes in the barrel and in the tonneau 500 liters soon in November, and stay there for 16 months or 18 months, depending on the quality. We decide that by tasting, by the tasting together with the theme, is our way to prepare the wine. And at the time in the barrel room, we still have all the plots divided as in the vineyard, because we want to develop as possible also the aging and the quality of the vineyard, to discover maybe some increasing quality, I hope.
Right, of course.
Or others projects. So everything in this period, for example, for the 19 is kept separately in the cellar and the barrel room, and we taste, and at the end of the process we start to blend together the same varieties for the same quality, and then we decide the blend for Argentiera, for Villa Donoratico, and Poggia Ginepri as well. And what we do for the last vintage was to really keep the eyes on the extraction, because we have a very different vintage. As the 18 was a rainy spring and normal warm summer with some good weather in September, with a very dry September. So we were confident that the quality and the ripeness arrived slower than usual, but was a good vintage. But 17, for example, was totally different, was extra dry winter, spring, and summer, with some heat during the summer. And for lucky, we had some rain during September that gave us the chance to wait a little bit the polyphenolic ripeness, because otherwise we will have some green in the tannins that is not very good. And so we really modulate the extraction in two different opposite vintages, in the 17 and the 18, while, for example, the 16 was a very good vintage. I can say that our best since the 19 probably.
Wow.
And was was a normal spring with some rain, very hot summer as usual. It's a warm area, Bolgheri, as you mentioned it before. And the September was good for the ripeness, and we really achieved some best point of polyphenolic ripeness. So was an incredible vintage for me, 16.
Wow. 15 was so celebrated as well. So
yeah, exactly. 15 was not that different. We had two great vintage, absolutely not that far from. The weather was similar. It depends of the style. It's a little bit different. 15 is more an impact wine. 16 is more gentle, more elegant for me, but very, very good vintage. I would like to have every year 15 or 16.
I'm sure, exactly. So let's start talking about a few wines here. I love your Vermentino.
I can leave the word to my colleague Massimo that speak with you about the wine.
Oh, sure. So I'm sorry, I didn't want to rush you off, but
no, perfect.
But no, it's really been a pleasure, and keep up the great work. You guys are doing amazing things there, and it's just so great to hear from you, because we just all enjoy your wine, but it's crazy for me to hear the work that goes behind it, the different plots, how many different passes through, vinifying them separately, barreling them separately, the blending. It's complicated, and people don't realize how difficult it is. So great work.
It's for justifying my work.
Exactly. And the work never ends, right? Exactly. All right. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicolò, and we'll speak to Massimo next.
Hi, David. Hi to everybody. Of course, Nicolò
Hello.
is here if you have any more question about the wines. I mean, he's close by. Of course, you can keep asking him questions. So we had here the Vermentino. So Vermentino is actually a great success history of a white grape coming from Tuscany, because when we talk about Tuscany, of course, we talk always about red wine. So Brunello di Montalcino, Chianti Classico, Bolgheri, but there are not so many white wines. And talking about Vermentino, of course, it's a kind of success history. We feel Vermentino is an indigenous varietal. I mean, we feel it as an indigenous varietal. Of course, Vermentino is also planted in other areas, especially in Sardinia and a little bit in Liguria. Here in the coast, it arrived strongly by investments done by many wineries. Also wineries of a larger size in the second part of the 90s, I would say. Okay. And it became immediately actually popular among the restaurants in the area, and is today probably the best-selling white varietal, at least here at the coast for sure. So it's became really a bestseller for his really very interesting characteristics. So it's a wine that it's a grape that loves to grow up close to the coastline. Indeed, our vineyards of Vermentino, we have approximately 6 acres of Vermentino, are less than half a mile from the seaside on the lower yields, where we have mainly sandy soil. So it's a grape that literally absorbs the saltiness from the sea breeze, and you can really feel it when you drink it. One of the characteristics of Vermentino is definitely in the beginning, when it's bottled, is aromaticity, is floral character, but in the second half of his age, is definitely the minerality that comes out. Now we have, with Touton, you have a very good vintage actually for a white wine, which is the 2018, as explained before from Nicolò. It has been a fresher summer. It has been a quite rainy spring, so fresher summer and a dry September with good temperature excursions. It means that the Vermentino of 2018 has a very good acidity, basically. It makes the wine also a little bit more age-worthy than other vintages. So drinking it right now, it's perfect, I would say. All the minerality, the saltiness, really is something that comes out very well.
I love that wine. It's just so approachable and very food friendly. It's really excellent.
Yeah, it's really a big hit.
Yeah. So let's move on to the reds. We can walk through the 3 levels here.
Yeah, this is Poggio ai Ginepri. This is our Bolgheri DOC. We produce basically just 3 reds. The portfolio of Argentiera is not big. I mean, we are talking about 5-6 wines totally. So Poggio ai Ginepri is one of our most important wine. It's the best seller from the 3 wine. It has an excellent price quality ratio. Indeed, it is very often marked by the Wine Spectator. It was 2 years ago. It was in his category. In the price quality, Big Reds was the best wine in 2018 for the best wine of the world in 2018 for the Wine Spectator. And of course, this makes this wine particularly successful. It has the character here is a little bit more on the fruity side, more drinkable compared to the Villa Donoratico and to, of course, Argentiera. That is due mainly because here Nicolò and Leonardo play a little bit more with the stainless steel tanks rather than with wood. So it's partially aged in stainless steel tank and partially aged in wood for around 9-10 months in wood. And of course, playing with wood and steel gives you gives this wine this more fruitier character. So it's a classical Bolgheri blend. As you know, Bolgheri is an international varietal blend. So it's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot mainly, and then a little bit more minor part of Cabernet Franc and Petit Verdot.
Okay. That wine's excellent. It's so approachable right out of the bottle. You don't need to age it. It can age, but
it's
so
a very, very, very nice wine. I call it always an all-rounder because Ginepri can be, I like also to drink it when it's a little bit warmer, when it's during the summer. Fresh it up, half an hour in the fridge, put it down a little bit. Wonderful.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So then we get a little more serious. Let's move
for sure. Yeah. Villa D'Onoratico. This is, I would say, the golden middle.
Right. Exactly.
A wine of, you can compare it from the structure also to Bolgheri Superiore without any doubt. It's probably the wine with the best quality ratio of all the area, if I can say that. It's and also here, of course, the blend is a classical Bolgheri blend. So Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Petit Verdot. And of course, here Nicolò and Leonardo plays much more with the oak. So it's aged for 12 months in French barrique and for another 8 to 10 months in the bottle before we start selling it. And you have here a very intense vintage. You have here Touton has right now the 2017, which has been one of the driest vintages we ever had. Warm and dry, and here in this vintage, especially in this vintage, you will be surprised when you taste the wine because the wine keeps the freshness, keeps the acidity. You would not say it's such a warm vintage, but here the fact that the altitude that we talked before, so almost 700 feet from the sea level, helps us in this warm vintages a lot, we must say. So 2017 vintage of Villa D'Onoratico is very intense, good structure, good body, good aging potential, and right now, extraordinary, very, very nice, long finish. It's a very, very intense and important wine, actually, in 2017 especially.
All right. Well, then let's kick it up a notch here to the pinnacle.
Yeah, this is Argentiera from Tenuta Argentiera. So we gave to this wine, to our flagship, the name of the estate. So in order to underline that this is the best wine of our estate. So here we dedicate here basically the most important plot of our estate on the highest hills. It's basically the picture that you used before, where you see the entire archipelago in front of you. All the grapes come from the big vineyard called Argentiera. You have here, Nicola just finished to say that 15 and 16, both vintages, I think, are now available at Touton. It's vintages of extraordinary quality. I mean, the 15 was awarded by James Suckling with 99 points, but it was also awarded from James Suckling as the runner-up wine of the year in 2018. So we received also this award. So, it was awarded by Falstaff. It was awarded very well, appointed by Robert Parker. And with this vintage, probably Argentiera was taken, let's call it, seriously, and arrived in this, let's call it, Gotha of the best wines of Italy. So with this vintage, I think that really Argentiera showed his potential, showed what this project was intended to be, basically. So the idea in 1999 was very simple, actually, producing one of the best wines of Italy. And with this vintage, we can say we did it, actually. And we redid it in 2016. So
that's what I was going to say. 97 points from Robert Parker.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. 97 points from Robert Parker. Another extraordinary vintage. When you compare them, that you feel actually that the vintages have been similar, but the end of the summer has been a little bit different. The 16 compared to the 15 has been much fresher September, and especially the temperature excursion in September in 2016 were more important, with more temperature excursion, colder nights, and that's why the 16 is more for wine lovers who like a little bit more the elegant side of the wine, who doesn't fear, let's say, to feel a little bit more nervous tannins, let's put it this way. And the 15 is for silky tannins. It's power. 15 has everything, but 16 is something for people who like. I always say the 16 is for the Burgundy drinker, and the 15 is for the Bordeaux drinkers.
Oh, that's a great analogy. That's perfect. I'm gonna steal that. I like that a lot. It's very good.
But 16 really has this a little bit more vertical character, and it's definitely one of the most age-worthy Argentieras that we ever produced. It would be great to taste 15 and 16 also in 10, 15 also in 20 years. We're sure that development would be really, really interesting.
Of course. Well, I want to thank you. It's great to run through these wines and to introduce people who aren't familiar. Maybe they're familiar with the Superiore, but not the Vermentino, or vice versa. It's a great collection of wines. So, and I know before we head out, we do have, I think Leonardo had something special that he wanted to announce.
Yeah, exactly. Leonardo introduced you to some big news of this year. So I pass by the word to Leonardo. Ciao,
Thank you so much.
Ciao to everybody.
Thank you.
Here I am again. So you see, and I illustrate just the picture that is just there. Okay, is the tree that is in the center of a little vineyard called Ventaglio. Ventaglio is the name that represents for us the form of the vineyards, so open it to the ocean. And Argentiera is the place of the Cabernet Sauvignon because, of course, we have more than 50 hectares in Cabernet Sauvignon. It's the place where Merlot, of course, arrives very well, but in the well-located place. And Cabernet Franc is the variety that needs the right place. So in 2015, Nicolò, Federico Zileri, and Stanislao, that was just arrived, decided, tasting the basis of that years, to select, to maintain pure the vineyard from the wines from that vineyards. And from there, we have decided to produce Ventaglio as a special cru of Argentiera. So Ventaglio is, for us, will be a challenge for the future, because each year we have to take care this Cabernet Sauvignon in that place, around the trees, the tree that is in the picture, and that is on this is the vineyard. It's a beautiful fan of rose around the tree. So it's a perfect place to produce a beautiful wine. The soil is fantastic, and the woods around, the different exposition to the north, to the south, to the west, gave us a different palette of aromatic aromas that all together produce this kind of wine, the cru of Argentiera.
So it's very interesting to me because, well, a few things. So explain the name to me. What does that translate to in English, and why? What's the meaning behind that?
The meaning of Ventaglio in English. So sorry, I wait. It's the fun. The fun is the form. It's like the fun that used to give a breeze to the coast.
Oh, like the hand fan, right?
It's the shape of the vineyard. You can see the shape of the vineyard there. It's like a fan. So it's the shape represents exactly what is a technical name. In Italy, we have few examples of vineyards that has this kind of representation, because the vineyards is just around the top of the hill. So this means that each vineyard, each row has a different spacing respect to the others, because goes behind the hill without to move the soil in the preparation. So when you start with the vineyards, sometimes you force the exposition, you force the land to obtain the right technical exposition of the rows. In this case, Federico Zileri in particular decided to maintain exactly the shape of the hills, represented by this kind of form that we call ventaglio.
What the cool thing to me as a wine geek is that you take all of those vines, all of those grapes, and you blend it together to make the final product. So it's not, you know, one part of it you can see here in this picture is shaded, but you're taking that the morning sun, the afternoon sun, the evening sun, and you're taking all these pieces and assembling.
Yeah, you're assembling from the same vineyard with different expositions. So it's really an experience. Not only we hope it to be an experience to drink that wine, but really it's an experience for us to produce that, because the different exposition gave us a different opportunity. Each vintage to have the same quality from a single cru. So it's a top of a little hill. So where we can have a different results from a different row. So is this is to reinforce the Ventaglio is our next step, because reinforce our attention to the quality, because for Ventaglio we use different timing, different for the harvest, different timing for the management of the vineyard, because single vineyard but different wines from that.
Exactly. So I don't know if we're going to be getting this in the United States, but I saw this image of this packaging for this bottle, and I just thought it was beautiful. I thought I would just show it. So the bottle folds open into a fan. I thought that was beautiful.
Yes, it represents the Ventaglio, the fan. So it's very beautiful. I hope that could be interested to represent by the packaging.
We have an allocation.
We have an allocation for Touton. Massimo, that is just be close to
there
me.
We go.
Much closer, but closer to me. Remember me that you have an allocation for this.
There we go.
It will be in the market, USA market in the future.
Very cool. So we just closed the deal. It's official now. Okay, good.
Okay. Well done.
So that's excellent. You know, we did run a little bit over. I think it was an amazing talk, though. We really, I think, got a lot out of it, and everyone who joined in, I think, myself included, even though I knew a fair amount about the winery already, it was really great just to see from the three of you. It was a special treat to have all three of you too take the time and discuss it. I'm seeing a question come across here about the total production of the Ventaglio.
The first vintage was 2015. The second one is we produce around 3,000 bottles per vintage. In the first two vintages. The next one will be the 2018 that you have just bottled a few days ago, and will be the same amount, because it's only 1 hectare. Ventaglio is only 1 hectare. Probably in the future could be something more, but we are just analyzing the land around Ventaglio to have to be safe, security. You have the security that the soil is the same, but in this moment is 1 hectare of vineyard. So very few bottles for Cabernet Sauvignon from there.
Yeah. So
Cabernet Franc, sorry.
1 hectare for our American viewers is 2.6 acres. So very, very small. But that's what makes it special is the uniqueness of it. I see someone asked here if are there tasting notes on the website? I believe there are.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah, so
You can find them.
And if I recall, there's even pictures of the soil. I loved your website. There were so many great things about it. You had not just pictures and details and technical sheets, but then there were also.
And we will improve a lot in the next future because we are just at the end of our geological and geopathological investigations with different electricity sources. So we will improve very soon the images from our terroir, from our soils.
No, it's excellent. Well, I think today we'll leave it with that. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And I know it's late in
Thank you,
Italy.
David.
It's almost 8 p.m. in Italy. So enjoy dinner.
Thank
Nicolò,
you.
thank you. Massimo, thank you so much.
David.
Actually, on a closing caption, can you just maybe open the window and show us the vineyard as we leave?
Yeah, you can try to keep, because you have to choose the right windows because are you ready for the wind?
Sure. Yeah, this is there we go.
Yes, there is a lot of wind. You can feel the wind?
Yeah, you can hear it for sure. You can definitely hear it.
Yes, it's the incredible, you can see from here. It's not easy because, okay.
Oh, you could see the hill with the tree back there, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's very windy and cloudy, but in front of us is basically the sea.
That's beautiful. Even with the clouds, it's beautiful.
Okay.
No, that's excellent. Thank you so much. We'll sign off.
Ciao.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for your time. Great wines. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.